Hi, ladies. Um, I decided, since I had so much fun with you guys last night, teaching you some makeup tricks, that I came to sit down in my office, and this is kind of where I have my whole makeup mess from last night. And I probably typically wouldn't wear makeup today, but I thought I'll put on some makeup for fun. And then why not make a video so that way I can do a video of all the everything I taught you. So I basically taught you guys very similar things. So I'm just gonna do those things on my face. So maybe it will be helpful for you guys to rewatch this and be able to remember things that maybe you forgot during the video, or yeah, because it's just like, a lot of things. So hopefully this is helpful. First step I'm gonna do is my Laura Mercier. And the lighting is not the best, but it's okay. Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer. And I'm just going to use my hands for this. So how I would do it. Oops. You don't need too much. Like, that is way too much. You kind of need... And here's another trick too. So if you get too much, you can always squeeze your bottle, let the air out, and then squeeze the product back in by the air. So that's kind of nice. So I don't need very much of this. And this product, what I found it did last night when I was talking to Nancy was it didn't look like a lot of coverage on the very first like rub on, and then it kind of settled and it looked like more coverage, and I thought that was kind of interesting. That was something I didn't know. Okay, and then I'm gonna do, and that's all I do for that step, just a little bit. And it depends, I mean, both of you guys have more texture than me, so you might want like more layers, or Alma did the BB cream and then the foundation. So those are great options. For me, I just do that step, and then I'm going to do powder foundation. And I kind of gently pat this in to my skin. I also like to put just a little bit on my eyelids because I think eyelids are an area that tend to get oily. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do with that. Simple. And this brush, remember this is the kind of brush that's kind of sparse, that is amazing for bronzer, because bronzer, as you know, Alma, is something that you can put too much on very easily. So I just get a little bit of it, and I'm going to do my... And you can always remember too, like, you don't really need to dip it in. This one I do put a little more, pressure than maybe some of the other techniques. But you don't need to get a lot of stuff, because your brush holds a lot still. The good thing to remember too here is that like I do my nose just because I have a big nose and it helps when my nose is a little darker versus highlighted. You guys don't really need to do that, I wouldn't think. You can play along with that if you want. But a good thing to remember is the contour, which is this what you would call the bronzer contour. You want it to you don't necessarily need to see it on your face as makeup. You'll more so see it as a shadow in your face. I don't know. This is, see, you can see how it's a shadow there, and it just looks like a natural shadow. It doesn't necessarily look like makeup. That's kind of more the look you want to go for with that. And then highlight. And we're going to take this media, it's pretty small actually. I think both of you ended up with a great highlighter brush, if I recall. This is going to go under here. And again, you don't need too much. Less is always more with makeup. And if you do want like a little extra highlight, a good place to put it is just right on the top of that cheekbone. Okay, that's it. And some blush. Now, we do blush. And blush, I just do a little. That's it. I tend to be red, so I don't really use a lot of blush, but I think your face kind of needs just a little bit of it is helpful. Alright, I'm going to do my eyeshadow with the paint pot because it's amazing. And it really helps. It really helps the eyeshadow adhere. It helps it, I would say, smoother. And I kind of just put a little bit of this all over. And it also like it smooths out the uneven color in your eyelid. I don't know if you can notice, but in the eyelid there's sometimes like veins that are visual and things like that. And the eyeshadow will cover that stuff, but this just, I don't really know how to describe what this does, but make the eyeshadow look better somehow. I think I'm going to use this one. This is great too. I think it's at Sephora, I want to say. These little Natasha Dona palettes. It might have been Sephora, it might have been online. I'm not sure. But they're kind of cool because they're really small and they got like a really good range for a few different eye looks for travel. I've like traveled a bunch, so I've found a lot of different things that are travel size because I don't want to take a bunch of stuff when I travel. So I'm going to go in with this big fluffy brush. Oh, the Sharky! Angelo has this Sharky Bitmoji that makes me really excited. I don't get to see him very often, so I get excited when I see him. So this is the bigger fluffy brush on the eyelids. Alma, you could get away with a bigger one. Nancy, you want to still go to smaller ones, even though it might be your biggest fluffy brush in your set. or like it's a small, big, fluffy brush. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it's pretty fluffy, but I'd say for Nancy, small, fluffy. And Alma, about this size, is probably fine. And that just has to do with like how much like eye canvas and eye shape that there is there to play with. Sometimes it's better to have a smaller brush. I'm going in with the lightest tan in this palette. And now remember with this part, you want to get just in the crease and you want to focus on the outside, and you're going to create like a V. So the V goes from here and then up into here into the crease. And this will go, this layer itself will go a little bit higher just because the brush is bigger, and that's okay. And then you want to make sure to keep your eyebrows up, and then you kind of squint your eyes, but not squinting. You kind of more just look low. And you can just kind of build this up how you think, but just small layers because you don't want it to be harsh lines. Okay. On the other side. So my eye is basically almost closed. Just to keep that eye space stretched, so that way you can really get it in where it needs to go. And it's really good to do a lot of blending, so maybe not get as much color, but spend more time blending it out. And this is really gentle pressure as well that I'm doing right now. It's not like really harsh, but I think another thing that's important, and what I noticed from last night was that it's better to put your brush on there and then move it around. Like you're not necessarily like brushing hair, like lifting it and brushing it constantly. You're more so keeping your brush attached to the skin and moving it around in different motions. That's kind of more so what you want to do here. Okay, and now I'm gonna go, I don't have very many like build up colors in this one, but I'm gonna go with a darker, looks really dark there, but it's not as dark in person. And I'm gonna go with this brown. And because it's so dark, so much darker, I'm gonna go light, really light with it and build it. Another thing to remember is you can keep your elbow up, and you kind of want your eyeshadow brush like pointing at your eye, like if you're gonna poke your eye out, you want it versus down here. Slightly down here is not terrible, but I think it's helpful to remember to try to keep it more up. And again, light pressure I'm doing here on these layers. Okay. This window, I think, is kind of funny for my lighting. Maybe that's a little better. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so that's pretty built up. And now is a good time, like you can do 1, 2, or 3 layers of like building the tans. And it's good to do that. I didn't have those 3 in this palette, so I didn't do that, but it's good to do that. And now you can do the 2 like I did though. That's totally okay. You just kind of like play it by your painting. So, you know, it might need something else each day and you kind of just play with it a little bit. Now I'm going to go in with this really tight, it's still fluffy, but it's really small. And this is really good when it will allow to get really into the crease. So now I'm going to go in with purple because I love purple. I think we all 3 love purple. But I'm going to do 2 build up purples, I think. So I'm going to do this lighter color down here. And now I can put a little more pressure because I'm really wanting to get this in that crease. And I think at this stage too, opening your eyelid a little bit more to help your eye crease, and then keeping your brush just right in that crease and like basically dragging it. Again, all of these steps, you want to kind of more so keep your brush attached and move it around versus picking up and doing it that way. I think that's going to help some. And you can play along with it too at this step. Like you can put pressure, not a lot. You can put a lot or medium, but you can play with little to light pressure in that crease, and you kind of just want to keep this color on the outside and in that crease. Okay. Sharky! Oh, Papa Shark! Aww. Kiss, kiss. Papa Shark. Okay. Now I'm going to go in on the other side, do the same thing. I'd like to go in with a little bit of more pressure. Remember, keep your elbow kind of up, an angle, slight angle. And then yeah, you can kind of close your eye, open it a little bit. You kind of just play along with it, and I think it will become more intuitive over time for you girls. Knowing that you kind of want to build it in the crease. I think keeping the steps, like building it in your crease, like if you need to remember anything, building it in your crease, building the darker colors to the outside of your eye. You don't really want darker colors in the inside of your eye. And then how you hold your brush, it's like a pencil every time. You know, like you're doing calligraphy. You know, it's like a fancy pencil every time. And your hand will get used to that. And you want your kind of elbow up angled with your brush slightly angled but directly at your eye. So if you remember, I think those things, you can kind of adjust and play along with the colors and your pressure and things like that. And I think they'll kind of come naturally, and you'll kind of know per makeup look what is needed. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I want to go in with this color a little bit underneath. Sometimes just a little bit underneath is really good amount to just help blend it even if you just do it right here in the edge of your eye, because sometimes if you just have it at the top, it kind of looks incomplete. So it's nice to kind of wrap it around like a smoky eye. Wrap it around into your under eyelashes. I hope I'm clear enough with my words, because I know I tend to mumble, so I apologize if that's happening. This is my first time teaching makeup, so I'm kind of learning as I go as well. Now I'm going to go in with a deeper purple. And I'm kind of just, you guys can do this too. I'm just doing extra layers and extra colors, and you know, maybe more for evening. You want to do something like this, building more colors. I'm kind of doing it more so to just to show you guys and play a little bit. And now I'm doing super light pressure. And I'm kind of just seeing where this might need to be. And there's so much on that brush that you don't realize. So, I mean, remembering that too, like you don't need to really always dip it. And a way to help make it even is you can like look at it with your eyes, like, you know, restfully open, you know, not like wide open, but restfully open. And you can see where the color is very well. And if you need more, and you don't need to necessarily get any more on your brush. You can kind of just go in there and blend out, and then put, excuse me, what's already on your brush on the eyelid, on the area that you feel like is missing color, basically. Now, for me particularly, I play with a lot of color up here, just because the way my eye shape is. So I go quite a bit out of my crease most of the time with color. That's something you can play along with. I think it's just preference, different eye shapes and stuff like that. I'm going to go in with another deep purple. These are like maroon purples, and they're really cool for this. And now I'm going to do pressure. And now, since this color is so deep, I really just want it in my crease and in the outside of my eye. And that is how you get this. I don't know if you can see, but how the colors just fade up. And it just gives that deepness right in there. I think that's really part of what really makes the smoky eye. Okay, that is it for the smoky eye part. Now you want to go in, since you have so much color and darkness, I would say, this is always really pretty to do, is get like a light shimmer color like this. I can send you this one, Nancy, and I have one other one that's just like, you know, you can add to your palette you already have, and if you don't want to get a whole one, I think the $8 one is a really good deal, but you need to make sure there's like a light, sparkly, shimmery, light, like cream white. This one's actually a purple. It's really cool. And this one is called Smoky Mauve, but this is perfect for that. There's one other one I have from MAC that's very similar, but it's more on the champagne side, so more on the cream white side, which is called Sweet Heat. But both of these are really good for this area. And you're going to take the flat brush, and you're going to go in there and you're going to get, you know, put a little pressure and get quite a bit. You're not going to need to dab off too much. But with this step, it's really important to just press it in, because it's so glittery, it can easily get all over your face. So you kind of just want to press it in, and you want it just in that area, basically, where we haven't put any color yet, focused on the inner eye, the inner part of your eye. Oh my gosh, you guys will love this color. It is just so fun. And you can bring it out on your lower lid a little bit and kind of play with where you feel like there isn't a lot of color. If you have a good shadow on this step, it's really obvious to see where it's at. So it's helpful to know where you need it. If it's an obvious good color, then it's easy to find out where you need it. But if it's a really light shimmery color, it might be hard to see exactly where it's being put. And this really helps brighten everything up. Another good place is kind of just ever so gently right here, which is kind of your inner eye, plus right underneath, just the very front, almost like right before your eyelashes even start right there. So there's that. And now the eyeshadow's done, except for we need to go in with the fluffy brush, and since we use like brown colors on it, you want to kind of clean it off or use a clean one, but this is the bigger fluffy brush we used. And you want like a light, this color should be really light, I would say. Almost like bone color or skin tone color, like maybe a little darker than skin tone. So I'm going to go in with this one. It looks really a lot darker on camera, but it's not. And this is a good place for matte or maybe a tiny bit of shimmer. You don't want like this shimmery, this really, really shimmery color we put here. We don't really want that where we're putting this. And this is just going to help blend out the top line and literally just make everything blended. And you're really not going to necessarily see it so much as a color, but it'll help blend that top line. And you don't need a lot at all, just barely one dab, and blend it in. And then that one kind of wasn't light enough. There's this one that it's a little bit shimmery, and it's kind of more like the shimmery of the highlight, where it's very gentle of a shimmer, versus this is very obvious shimmer where we put on the eyelid. And so I'm going to go in with just a little bit of this. And I basically put this literally right underneath the eyebrows and right on the eyebrow. You don't really want this to go down very far. You don't need it to. All right, that's done. And now, oh, I have a new mascara downstairs I need to use. Let me get that. Okay. So now, mascara, which I like to do, get in close to your eyelashes, wiggle it and pull it out. You can do the top part a little bit. Try not to touch the eyelid. And then get more. And go in strong, just kind of fluffy on the middle to end of the lash. And you kind of want to direct the inner lashes in and up slightly, and then the middle ones straight up, and then these ones kind of want to fluff out ever so gently. And then on the very outside, you can use just the tip to kind of fluff these ones out. And then if you want it to be fuller, thicker, you can kind of just go in right on the end and fluff it up. And then this is a good point to do the bottom because you have very little on your brush now. And you just do a really quick bottom. This was something that was new to Nancy, so I'll mention so you know too, Alma, with a lot of the technique and things I showed you guys was how to hold the brush or whatever you're using, And so this was something, going this way is really natural, but you can also turn on the same eye and go this way with your mascara, or I think it was eyeliner with Nancy that we did that way, and that was helpful for her. So you can pull eyeliner in by going this direction, and it's literally going from here to here with your hand. So that's something nice to keep in mind. Okay, I'm gonna go to this side. And I think mascara at first, it's always a little challenging on your opposite eye of what hand you're holding it with. I think it's just the angles are so different. So sometimes it's good to just put it on like this, but it can feel really awkward and hard to do. So it takes a little practice, but you just kind of play with it and see what like feels natural. I don't know, what I find is everyone ends up finding their own kind of unique way of how they hold brushes and things like that. And I think it's good to stick to like the ways I'm showing you. And then I think your body will naturally develop its own ways of how it applies, because every face is different. Everybody needs something different. And so I think your hands and your body will shape how you need to apply your makeup over time. But at least training yourself to do it the way I taught you in the beginning will help then to develop, your own natural habits with it, basically. I have a dry throat from talking. And if you ever feel like one eyelash, one eye of eyelashes or eyeshadow is always better than the other, I think that is really just normal. I think it partly has to do with how different shaped our eyes are. Okay, now I did one of these where I messed up, so I'm going to very gently try to get that off right away. That way, it doesn't take off too much makeup, and you can go in with your big fluffy brush without any extra color and just blend it right there. Okay. So yeah, sometimes you might feel like one eye with the mascara or the eyeshadow or something just looks really good, and the other one you just can't seem to match it. And partly that's because we have such different like if you really analyze our face shapes, we're like two different girls per side. They're just totally opposite. Have you ever heard like your eyebrows are sisters, not twins? It's very true, and it's very true for like all of your body. If you're cut in half, you would easily look like two totally different people. So I think partly that is why maybe our eye tech, our shadow or something looks different. Or one looks way better and one doesn't. But I think naturally, again, you learn naturally how to put more on one side because it needs it, because it's a different shape. And you learn kind of like, I don't even think it's like conscious. I think it's just natural which side needs more and less, and how to kind of make them look more even with makeup. But one might need more than the other. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but so I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna go in with my eyeliner because why not? And this is the blue one, and this one I'm just gonna put here today. I'm gonna do pretty simple. Okay, and I'm not done. I'm gonna do my eyebrows, and I don't need much. She just colored them, so when she colored my hair, so they're pretty good right now. But since I did so much deep makeup, even if you have good eyebrows, it's still kind of nice to do like this kind of thing. It just kind of polishes it off. And I'm going to do this. And both of you girls' eyebrows you would love this product. I love it when my eyebrows are they're really shaped and they're waxed right now. But I also love it when they're bushy and I can just kind of comb them and stuff. So that's kind of nice thing. Plus it's easier than like a pencil. You don't have to really worry about being even or any of that. You kind of just let your eyebrows be how they already are by adding just a little bit to them. You know, if you start doing pencil and stuff, you almost need to make sure it's even and there's enough on each side and things like that. But I should do some sort of lipstick. It's just a chapstick. I'm going to do this pink one because why not? This is Velvet Lippy. Buttery matte lip color. I don't wear it very often. I really more so just wear my Chanel one because it stains. It stays all day long. And it's just my color. But this is what I have in front of me. So to finish this look, I'm going to put a little bit on. This is pretty. It's like an orangey. And again, like I go for more the natural type makeup now, even though I did a lot of eyeshadow today. But skin, I like natural. I like to be able to see the skin. I don't really do lip liner or any of that stuff. I don't think either one of you would need it. You can certainly play with it, but some women don't have a lot of lips, so it's great to use lip liner. And I think I have plenty of lips, so I don't really necessarily need it. And I go for more the natural look, so you know, it's better in that manner. It's more natural to just have some color on there. What do you think? I'm holding this light up so you can see me better because I don't think the light's very good. That's good lighting. Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful. If I went too fast or let me know how I can better explain things because again, this is my first time explaining teaching. I've taught a little bit when I'm doing someone's makeup. I kind of show them some things, but this is my first time like really teaching kind of in-depth technique, like how to hold the brush, how to hold your hand, and all of those kind of things. And it's been super fun for me. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to show you some fun makeup stuff. But yeah, let me know if it's like if I'm talking too fast or if I'm mumbling or it's not helpful or it is helpful. Give me some feedback so I can help adjust these videos for you as I make them because we'll do more and we can do more Skype lessons if you want. I'm happy to do that. And yeah. Another thing, if it is too fast in some of like the things I taught today, you can always just like pause and rewind and just go over that section. And sometimes it might be good to just watch this video when you're not necessarily doing your makeup, just so you can kind of fully watch it and remember. That kind of helps train memory a little bit, I think, with makeup technique. Yeah. That's all.